Well, as COVID cases and deaths surge, one of the largest and most continuous public gatherings in the state is approaching the date for its biennial meeting. The Montana legislature. Well, how will the 2021 legislature operate starting in January with a pandemic raging? As MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison tells us, the details are far from settled.
In normal times, the Montana legislature means hundreds of legislators, other elected officials, lobbyists, staffers, and the public all crammed into the Capitol for 4 months. This year, no.
Our legislative session for 2021 cannot look the same. It cannot look the same.
Neiman, the county public health director in Helena, says it's a super spreader event waiting to happen and is urging lawmakers to find ways to limit the number of people in the Capitol while still conducting their business. But the county doesn't have jurisdiction over the legislature or maybe the Capitol, so it's up to legislative leaders and incoming Governor Greg Gianforte to decide what to do. Gianforte's transition team says he wants to ensure the health of lawmakers, staff, and others at the session, but didn't provide any details on what that means. Incoming Senate President Mark Blaisdell, a Republican from Kalispell, says most GOP lawmakers intend to be at the session in person, but that accommodations will be made for legislators who don't, such as remote voting.
Obviously, we're going to have to respect each and every person because some are going to have more concerns than others. And just like you see in Montana, we have a very diverse feeling on the whole COVID issue.
Yet even something as simple as wearing a mask is a point of contention.
I think that mask wearing is going to be essential, and I hope that we can follow the science on that.
I know there's members on my side of the caucus that will not wear a mask, as well as on the other side there's some that are adamant that everybody does wear them. So that's a real challenge.
The public is required to wear masks in the Capitol, but legislators apparently are exempt if they choose. But what about the public's access during the session? Blaisdell and Abbott say it's vital to maintain that access, and legislative staff is investigating ways that can happen online or in limited numbers or in larger rooms in other state buildings outside the Capitol.
Obviously, we're going to need to limit numbers, and how we do that with equity in a fair way for everyone that has an interest in participating in legislative business is a question that we have to answer.
Neiman also says it's not just Helena that could be affected by how the legislature chooses to operate.
We have legislators traveling in from all parts of the state into one location, and going back from Helena back to their communities. And so with that comes risk.
Lawmakers from both parties meet Wednesday to choose their leaders for the 2021 session, and they'll get together in the coming weeks to hammer out the operational details. Blaisdell says it likely will come down to how each legislator chooses to do his or her job.
Each member's signed up to represent, and I think it's important that they get to represent in the way and the fashion that they believe they can do the best job for their constituent.
One Republican lawmaker told me it's inevitable that people will become infected with COVID-19 at the session. But as one Democratic lawmaker said, we dedicate our lives to this work. No one should have to give their life for it too. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
At this point, the session is scheduled to convene in Helena on January 4th.